What's happening, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more Bad Brains, and we're back with some more live Bad Brains. We're going to keep going through the Youth Are Getting Restless live album, recorded in Amsterdam, 1987. I very much enjoy this performance. As I said, there's a few tunes on this album that I think, on a fundamental level, the studio album version might sound a tiny bit better sonically, but once again, even in those cases, I do enjoy having live performances of songs that I already know from their albums. So I do very much love this album. We're gonna listen to a tune called "Sailing On" or "Sailin' On," Sailin like an apostrophe. I reacted to the studio version of this already. Go check that out if you're interested. And because I did that already, I'm not going to spend too long talking about the lyrics. Although there's not an abundance to say in comparison to some of their other songs. But just to sum up concisely. It's about the end of a relationship and the way in which, once you feel that emotional and interpersonal connection has sort of run its course or is dried up, you really have to move on because life is ultimately too short to, deal with emotional grief and sort of anguish that, is beyond what is reasonable or necessary. So it's just about sailing on and moving on and not getting bogged down by something that is clearly, again, run its course or not working anymore. So yeah, I enjoy the tune. I enjoy, again, there's like a few punk rock bands I know and enjoy very much that have done a song that's like, they do a lot of political songs, but then they'll do a song that's about like, fuck, love is so fucked up and it can hurt. And really drive out the little bit of feeling that you thought you had left. Subhumans have a song called "Love Is ... And that one is very much like this, although this one is a little more forward-looking in that it's like, I'm hurt and I don't want to be part of this anymore, but I'm going to move on. I'm going to the next chapter of my life. I'm done with this. Whereas "Love Is" by the Subhumans, just like, my God, the brutalities of the world made me think I was like, I had become cold and indifferent to anything. But now, I had love for a moment and then it went away. Well, now the little bit of a heart I have left is crushed. So it's more like a, desolation, like an emotional desolation sort of song. But yeah, this song is in sort of the same vein, if again, a little more forward looking. This is a really cool live performance. And, unlike some of the other songs where there's a moment at the beginning where they're, you can sort of feel the vibe of the crowd, or HR may say something in advance. This one just gets right to it. So here we go. This is "Sailin' On" by Bad Brains, heard here on the Youth Are Getting Restless live album, recorded at the Paradiso in Amsterdam, 1987. I don't think my throat would survive one of those, like, acid fry shouts. That sounds good right here. Shredded that solo. Slightly different idiosyncratic inflections in this live performance. His range is singular. From that deep theatrical, vibrato resonance, almost like, Bruce Dickinson or something, and then right up to those super high, fry shout screams, and with all the squeaks and squiggles in between. But yeah, it's incredible. I do enjoy, like I said, that song a great deal in this live version. I like the whole album. But yeah, it's like Big Takeover and a couple others. It's like I love it, but the studio version, maybe just because I heard it first. I've talked about that before in some different videos where like if you hear a song a certain way, and for me it happens a lot in classical music, is like there'll be a symphony, but then there's a bunch of different symphonies or orchestras, I should say, and conductors who perform it, and it'll sound different, like in different conductors and symphony or orchestra's hands. And so sometimes that'll happen with like a punk rock song where you might hear like one version of it first, and then just by virtue of the very fact that like imprinted on your head is like that's what that sound or that song sounds like, hearing another version later, whether it's live or maybe you heard the live one first and then you hear the studio and it's like, oh wait, it's different. So yeah, I think part of it might just be that I heard the studio versions first. But even so, I really enjoy that, and I think that one is like it's just about the same sound and like level of like precision as the studio version. So yeah, it's a cool tune. And yeah, HR's vocals, his wide range of vocals impresses me, but like again, if I even tried to do one of those like high like fry screams that he does, I'm pretty sure I'd never be able to speak again. So kudos to him for finding a way to be such a dynamic vocal performer and still be able to perform over a number of decades now, like what, into its like fourth plus decade, or like into the fifth decade I should say. So yeah, big ups to HR and the rest of the guys. Let me know what you think of this tune. As I said, I'm going to keep going through the rest of the album. Now there's a few on here that I don't know as well because I never had the studio album that they're from. So some of these will be like, again, like Coptic Times. Like I don't even remember what album that's from offhand. It's certainly not from one of the ones that I had, which I had the self-titled one. I had Black Dots. I had like a compilation one called Band in DC. I had this, but yeah, ultimately, I don't even know what that's from. So yeah, there'll be a few on here where maybe it's not a first listen overall because I have listened to this whole album, but where I don't have that prior context of comparison. So, in that case, it'll be less about, oh, it sounds a little different from the studio version. I'll just only know it through this, and therefore, that'll be kind of my primary basis for understanding it. But ultimately, yeah, there's plenty of tunes left to go. I think for my next one I might do The Youth Are Getting Restless, the tune itself. I do remember that one, although again it wasn't on one of the studio albums that I had. But yeah, if there's another one on here you'd like to hear, let me know. Once again, shout out to the mix producer, which is Ron St. Germain. And yeah, let me know what you think. Other than that, thank you for listening and watching. I'll see you next time.